should start Bhagavad Gita. Great question. Okay, when you are free, better start. All right, tell me, which is the best age at which you Shanti. Arjuna Uvacha Jayasi chet karmanaste Mata buddhir janardana Tat kim karmani ghore mam Niyojayasi keshavam Vyamishreneva vakyena Buddhim mohayasiva me Tadekam vada nishchitya Yena shreyohamapnuyam Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Lokesmin vividha nishtha Pura prokta maya nagham Jnana yogena sankhyanam Karma yogena yoginam Na karmana manarambhat Naishkarmyam purushoshnute Nacha sanyasana deva Siddhim samadhigacchati Nahi kaschit kshanamapi Jatu tishthatya karma krit Karyate hyavashah karma Sarva prakriti jair gunaihi So we were doing the second chapter is called Sankhya Yoga, and Sankhya there, Sankhya Yoga means Jnana Yoga. There, Samyak Khyayate Jnayate Anaya Upanishada. There is a certain Sanskrit Vyutpatti. It means the method of unfoldment of the truth. The second chapter unfolds our nature. Therefore, the second chapter, it talks about our nature as eternal. Therefore, unfolding our nature as eternal makes the second chapter Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya means here anything that is Vastu Pratipadana Param. That which unfolds our nature is called Sankhya Yoga. Here Sankhya is not Kapila Sankhya, that's different. Here Sankhya means Jnana. Because the second chapter begins on this note. Arjuna, you are unnecessarily worried about, you are afraid. Death seems to have become an issue. Death seems to frighten you. Death seems to frighten you. Death also seems to worry you. Death of your near and dear ones, their death, the death of Bhishma, the death of Drona, seems to worry you, and your own death seems to frighten you. The worry about others' death, the fear of the death of the near and dear ones, and the fear of one's own death takes the toll in life. Listen to this well. We fear death so much, and we live our whole life under the pressure of death. We always live under the pressure of death, under the fear. And that fear is the biggest pressure. It is not really just, getting some money is a big pressure. That's nothing. Earning bread is not a pressure. Food is not pressure. That's not real pressure. To eke out a living is not a big pressure. To find shelter is not a big pressure. To find food is not a big pressure. Even to cope with your own wife is not a big pressure. To cope with your husband is not a big pressure. It is nothing. To live with another person is not a very big pressure. These are all topical pressures. Topical means day to day, small pressures which come and go. The pressure of having to find food goes when you find food. The pressure of having to find shelter goes when the shelter is found. The pressure of having to live with others, that pressure goes when you are able to cope with others. These are called topical pressures. What are they called? Topical pressures. Topical means part of life. Physical existence entails these pressures. You cannot live without these pressures, because you can't get food free, you can't get shelter free, you can't get comforts free, amenities free. You can't get even drinking water free these days. I'm telling you. You can't get even drinking water free. Therefore, these pressures are a part of life. But these pressures come and go. But the pressure of fear of death doesn't come and go. I want you to listen to this point. What really doesn't come and go is the pressure of, the fear of death. What doesn't come and go is the fear of death. Therefore, it is the fear of death, it is the fear of unhappiness, it is the fear of pain. Pain frightens us. Pain frightens us. Pain, the death, the thought of death frightens us. Therefore, this is exactly like this. It's like this. I want to be and be pain-free. I want to be and be pain-free. This is what everybody loves. Everybody loves to be and be pain-free. And we have seen this point that everybody loves to be and be pain-free. That's because that happens to be our nature. This is a very huge clue. Because what is not our nature, if it were not our nature, we would not be seeking it all the time. Okay, this we will make it a topic by itself later on, but this much you understand, that the real pressure in life is the pressure of the fear of death. That is why Krishna first addressed this question. He first answered, he first attended to this problem. Krishna told Arjuna, Ashocyan anvashocastvam prajnavadamscha bhashase gatasun agatasumscha nanushocanti panditaha. So gatasun, agatasun na anushocanti panditaha. The wise do not grieve the dead and the living. Meaning what? Death doesn't worry a wise man. Meaning when you start thinking correctly, wise means not something different. A wise man means when you think differently. When you think correctly, you are being wise. Correct thinking is called wisdom. I am defining wisdom. Otherwise it would remain mystical. What is the definition of wisdom? Correct thinking is wisdom. Correct thinking is wisdom. Correct thinking is wisdom. When we think correctly, really we perceive our continuity. When we think correctly, we perceive our continuity, we perceive our presence in the waking, we perceive our presence in the dream, we perceive our presence also in the deep sleep. We perceive the Jagrata Avastha, we perceive the Swapna Avastha, and we also experience the deep sleep. Only these three experiences are there in life. Therefore, life and death also fall within these three experiences. Life and death fall within these three experiences. Is it clear? Therefore, waking is our experience, dream is our experience, and deep sleep, sound sleep is our experience. And therefore, the one who experiences the waking, the dream and the sleep is there in all the three states, and therefore we are constantly experiencing the continuity of our existence. Therefore, registering our continuity is wisdom. The wave comes and goes, water continues. That's called wisdom. With reference to the wave, they say the wave comes and goes, the water has continuity. I'll tell you something. When we are able to register the non-eternity, when we say these objects are non-eternal, this body is non-eternal, everybody says, so clearly, without any ambiguity, everybody says this world is non-eternal, this body is non-eternal, these eyes and ears are non-eternal, this mind is non-eternal, everything goes back to the elements, etc., etc., they say. Now my question is, who knows the non-eternity? Whose knowledge is it? Is it your belief that this body is non-eternal? Is it your belief or is it your knowledge? Now you have to answer this question. Try to answer that this body is non-eternal. Is it your belief or is it your knowledge? Is it your belief or knowledge? It is your knowledge. That this body is non-eternal is your knowledge. That this mind also just goes is non-eternal is one's knowledge. This life itself is non-eternal. This life is non-eternal is your knowledge. Are you able to follow? That this life is non-eternal, is it your belief or knowledge? You have to hear. You are not to be restless. You have to be restful and hear. So Vedanta. You have to relax and hear. that this life is non-eternal. Is it your belief or knowledge? It is knowledge. If it is knowledge, the one who knows is eternal. Thus, understanding the continuity of our being is what makes one wise. Bhagavan first addressed this issue. There is no death for you. You are indeed the unnegatable. And once that pressure is gone, life becomes easier. Living a life minus the pressure of that fear of death really is very important. We can't enjoy life with the fear of death. That is why the whole second chapter is called Jnana Yoga, because it talks about the nature of the self. Now the third chapter is called Karma Yoga. And in the last class I tried to explain that the third chapter is called Karma Yoga because we are talking about the need for duty. Action is not duty is not something that is imposed on us. Duty is our need. I wanted to build up this topic. Unless we look upon karma as a need, we can never have the right attitude towards it. Duty is not imposed on us. Duty is not imposed on us, but duty is our need. Like to live is our need, and to find our happiness is our need. To find our freedom is our need. To find peace is our need. And in order to find our happiness and peace, we have to be alive, and therefore to live is our need. To live is not something, is kind of helplessness. It is our need. Therefore, to eat is our need. To be healthy is our need. And to think correctly and ultimately understand our free nature is our need. Thus, look at life as our need. To live is our need. And to educate ourselves about ourselves is our need. If this is our need, then a duty also becomes our need. And once we understand that a duty is our need, our attitude towards it will be right attitude. Because we can't have half-hearted attitude towards what we need. Are you able to follow? Therefore, karma means duty, which is our need. It is our need. If it is not our need, if it is imposed by somebody, will you accept it? In this context, I am going to say a few things. Just go on hearing. Discipline, what is it? It's a need. Discipline is our need. It is not imposed. Discipline is our. Similarly, anything and to have relative peace is our need, and therefore anything that can bring about relative peace in our mind is also a need. Therefore all values become needs. Discipline becomes a need. Self-control becomes a need. To keep the mind free from jealousies, etc., becomes a need. Not to be very indisciplined becomes a need. And to eat the right food becomes a need. Oh my God! Therefore, in order to live in peace, peace is not accidental. In fact, when a person lives and thinks correctly, that has to give a moment of peace. Therefore, anyway, coming back to the point, Duty is our need. Bhagavan Krishna is going to say later on that, hey, without doing your duty, you can't even survive. But a duty is not only, we always look upon duty as something that will help us to survive. We relate duty to mere survival. We relate duty to mere survival. Whereas Bhagavan Krishna relates duty to not only physical survival, but also mental growth, which is a very huge thing. We look upon duties as related to mere physical survival. This is how we think. I do my duties, I make my money, and then I buy things and I survive. This is how we relate all duties to physical survival. Bhagavan Krishna is going to say the duties are there not only for physical survival, but they are also there, they are meant to help you grow in your mind. And mental growth means growing out of all impulses. That is called growing. Growing means growing out of. We can't even imagine growth except in terms of growing out of. A child grows means grows out of childhood. A child grows means grows out of childhood. An infant grows means grows out of infancy. A teenager grows means grows out of teenage. Therefore, all the time, growing means grow out of the previous stage and grow to a new stage. This is when an infant becomes a teenager, or a teenager becomes really a middle-aged man, or when a middle-aged man becomes an elderly person, this body is going through modifications. We can't, even though we call it growth, but it is nothing but modification. But when you grow out of, for instance, jealousy, you grow out of jealousy, you have a jealousy in your mind. When you grow out of jealousy, it is not modification, it is growth. There is a difference between mere modification and growth. Did you hear this? When a person can really grow out of jealousy, it is growth. It is growth. If you can overcome really hatred, that is growth. If one can overcome anger, it is growth. In fact, growing out of any impulse is growth. Growing out of any impulse is growth. Krishna relates the duty not only to the physical survival, but also to mental growth. And therefore, when the duty becomes related to mental growth, it becomes yoga. Karma yoga. Therefore, karma yoga, duty as something that helps us grow mentally. Karma yoga that helps us grow mentally. Karma that helps us grow mentally is called karma yoga. Now the question is, is karma yoga an independent path to moksha? Or is it something that prepares us for knowledge? General thinking is, we have many paths leading to the same goal. Haven't you heard this? There are many paths leading to the same goal. And it is not true that there are many paths leading to the same goal. It's not true. And I'll make you see how it is not true that there are many paths leading to the same goal. There is only one path, that is understanding oneself. But there are many paths that prepare you for knowledge. Preparatory steps are many, but the solution is one. Preparatory steps are many. Preparatory steps are many, but the solution is one. Solution is one. Therefore, between the Karma Yoga, which is preparatory, and understanding oneself, between the two, there is no choice, either this or that. In fact, we require preparatory step, we also require understanding. I'll give you an example. You want to reach Rishikesh. You want to reach Rishikesh. Yes. And in order to reach Rishikesh, you have to travel, is it not? Or can one reach Rishikesh without travel? Can one reach Rishikesh without travel? You have to travel to reach. That traveling may be, you may travel by bus, or you may travel by car, or you may travel walking, or you may travel by flight. That doesn't matter, but traveling is important in order to reach. And you can't say, well, this that I can reach really without traveling, and therefore traveling becomes necessary. It is the means. Traveling becomes the means, and reaching is the end. I am trying to give this example and try to understand this point. Preparing oneself is traveling. Keeping one's mind peaceful is a part of traveling. Keeping one's mind pure is a part of traveling. And then studying Vedanta and understanding oneself is the reaching. Like, a small child. Now you place a book in front of him and say, please read the book. Now, his mind is elsewhere. Now, can he focus? Can he really concentrate on what is there on the book? He can't concentrate on the book. Now he has to bring his attention back. This preparing his mind, bringing his attention back to himself is called preparation. Bringing one's attention back to oneself is called preparation. And then going and trying to understand what is said. And that is called understanding. Therefore, Karma Yoga is not a parallel path to moksha. Karma Yoga is preparatory for moksha. And Shankaracharya says it is upaya. Understanding is upeya. Karma Yoga is upaya. Jnanam is upeya. Therefore, if somebody thinks, I am not interested in Jnana Yoga, I am interested only in Karma Yoga, that is wrong. So, Karma Yoga is preparatory. Similarly, some people think Bhakti Yoga, there is another parallel path of devotion. Devotion again is not a parallel path. Devotion also is preparatory. Karma Yoga is preparatory. Bhakti Yoga is preparatory. Understanding oneself is the goal. Bhagavan Krishna in the second chapter explained away the nature of the self, and Arjuna does not understand. If he has not understood, then he has to prepare his mind. Krishna says, understanding the truth liberates you. And then again he says, therefore do your duty. Understanding yourself solves the problem, therefore do your duty. Now Arjuna has got this doubt in his mind. If understanding the self alone is what is important, then why should I do karma? Why should I do karma? Karma is strenuous. It is always, karmana badhyate jantu. It is said, duty, karma always binds a person. When you perform an action, then it produces a result. And in order to enjoy the result, then I have to take another birth. Therefore, doing karma only brings results to enjoy which I have to continue to take birth. Therefore, karma is only binding. Therefore, it is always better to understand the self and not worry about karma. This is what Arjuna thinks. And now he asks this particular question to Krishna. Let us begin the first verse. See, Arjuna uvacha jayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhir janardana. In the second chapter, Krishna said that jnanam, the path of knowledge is superior, meaning that is what is choiceless. If the self is ununderstood, then understanding the self becomes the solution, and therefore knowledge is indeed the right means. Krishna said the knowledge is the right means to solve the problem. And now Arjuna asks, jayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhir janardana. First take the first word, jayasi. If it were superior, if it were shreyasi, jayasi means shreyasi. If it is superior, chet, if, buddhihi, the knowledge, buddhihi jayasi chet. If jnana marga is superior, if the path of knowledge were superior, karmanaha to karma marga. If the path of knowledge were superior to the path of action, te mata, if it is thought of by you, as thought of by you, he Janardana, he protector of people, Janan ardayati, that means rakshati iti Janardanaha. The one who is supposed to protect the people is called Janardana. So, hey Janardana, hey Krishna, if you think the path of knowledge is superior, then why are you asking me to perform an action? You should allow me to take sannyas and sit down and then really reflect upon the truth and understand the truth. Why you are imposing the duty? I don't want to fight. Why are you prompting me to fight? I don't want to fight. I want to leave the battlefield and go, but why are you prompting me to fight? You understand, therefore the karma is not going to liberate me. Knowledge is what is going to liberate me. I can always go to a quiet place. I can take sannyasa and then really I can reflect upon the truth and I can understand. I can liberate myself. Why do you have to prompt me, force me to do this action? Tat kim, when you think the path of knowledge is superior, kim, why? Karmani ghore, in this cruel action, cruel deed, mam, me, niyojayasi, you are putting me, you are yoking me, you are forcing me to perform into, you are forcing me into this cruel deed of fighting. Keshava, hey Krishna. This is the meaning of the verse. Arjuna thinks like this: if the path of understanding is superior, then why do you force me to perform? Why do you force me to do this cruel deed of fighting? You call it duty. For me, that is not important. For me, it is violence. Arjuna says it is violence. Fighting is violence. Whereas Krishna says, no, it is your duty to fight. Here comes a lot of things to be understood. Every layman thinks that fighting is violence. And what is it for a Kshatriya? What is it? It is a duty. If a soldier kills an enemy, is it violence or duty? It is duty. If a doctor performs surgery on a patient, he has to cut open the body. Is it violence or duty? Duty. If a mother punishes the child for the growth of her own child, tell me, is it violence or duty? Even when a teacher is strict with the student, it is not violence, it is duty. It is duty. And therefore, Duryodhana was in fact unjust, and it is the duty of a Kshatriya to bring the unjust to justice, and therefore, definitely it is not violence, it is a duty. Anyway, is it not true that Krishna tried everything to bring about peace? Who wanted war? Did Krishna want war, or did Arjuna want war? It is the Pandavas really who wanted war. Krishna did not want war. In fact, he tried even to mediate. He wanted to go there. He went to Duryodhana and tried to bring about some understanding, some peace. He asked for even small piece of land. He gave me a village with 5 houses, or 1 house with 5 apartments. Well, the Pandavas will be very peaceful. Did he not really try for peace? He tried, but then did it happen? It didn't happen, and therefore ultimately it is Arjuna who wanted the fight. Then having come to the battlefield, if he is not ready to fight, what should Krishna teach? Should he teach him duty? Or should he allow him to go and take sannyas? And therefore, whatever is Krishna teaching, it is only duty. And it is not isolated. It is not something unrelated to his self-knowledge. Arjuna is only an excuse. Krishna is giving the teaching to the whole society. Duty is related to our freedom. So this is the question. This is the question that Arjuna says, why do you force me into this cruel deed? The next question, please see. Vyamishreneva vakyena buddhi mohayasiva me. If knowledge is superior, then why do you say karma also you have to do? Forcing me to do a cruel deed, and at the same time praising the value of knowledge. Now in this there is a confusion. If knowledge liberates, one should take only to knowledge. Why duty? If duty can liberate, then leave knowledge and take to duty. If devotion can liberate, then take to devotion. Why duty or why knowledge? Arjuna is thinking that knowledge is one path, duty is another path, and devotion is another path. And we have the language for this: jnana marga, bhakti marga, karma marga. In this manner, there are 3 margas. But Krishna says, no, you don't have 3 margas. There is only one path, the path of understanding. For example, there is darkness. There are how many ways out of darkness? There is darkness. There are how many ways are there by which you can be free from darkness? There is only one way. And what is that way? Bring the light. Bring the light. Bring the light. Is there any other way? Supposing the darkness is ancient darkness, even then, light is the way out. If it is darkness in a cave, a mountain cave, which has been there for ages, then what is it that can dispel the darkness? The light. And to bring about that light, you can do so many things to bring about that. But ultimately what it dispels the darkness is the light. This is exactly what we have to understand. Similarly, that about our nature there is certain darkness, it's called self-ignorance, and the self-ignorance can go only through self-knowledge, and that self-knowledge can come only when the mind is prepared, and the mind is prepared only when there is a right attitude, prayer, values, all these put together can prepare the mind. And therefore here Bhagavan says, well, Bhakti Marga is not something independent, Karma Marga is not independent, Jnana Marga is not independent. Jnana Marga is the solution, whereas the Karma and the Bhakti are preparatory. It says, Vyamishrena iva. Take the first word, second verse. Vyamishrena means as though confusing. Mishra means mixed. Vyamishrena iva, as though confusing. Iva vakyena, as though by some confusing statement. As though confusing, as though the words are confusing, as though your statement is confusing. Arjuna doesn't want to say, hey Bhagavan, you are very confusing. He says, as though your words are as though confusing. Your statement is as though confusing. Buddhim, my mind, mohayasi, are confusing. May, mind. Mohayasi means you are as though confusing my mind. It looks as though your words are confusing. It looks as though I am also confused. You praise knowledge, and in the same breath you praise duty. In the same breath you praise values. You are praising, you are highlighting the value of so many things. Why don't you tell me exactly one path? Why do you have to give me so many paths? Knowledge, you highlight the value. You say knowledge is very important. And then now again you say duty is very important. And again you say the devotion is important. And you also say values are important. And you also say discipline is important. How many things are important? What is it that is going to really liberate me? Is it knowledge that will liberate me? Is it devotion that will liberate me? Is it the duty that will liberate me? Or what is it that is going to liberate me? I am really confused about what you say. And therefore, you see, the next line, Arjuna is exactly what he is thinking becomes clear to you. Tad ekam vada nishchitya. Tad ekam. Ekam means one. Jnanam karmava. Is it jnanam or is it karma? Ekam vada. May you vada Lord, please tell me. Nishchitya. Nishchitya means what? Nischay karke. Clearly. First be clear in your mind, Bhagavan. Bhagavan, be clear in your mind. What is it that is relevant, that is good for me? For some people, karma may be good. For others, jnana may be good. For others, bhakti may be good. But you know me, Krishna. I know I have been your friend. We have been together for so many years. By this time, you should be knowing my nature. Please find out what is really the right path for me. If you think knowledge is the right path, then I will tread the path of jnanam. If you think bhakti marga is suited to me, then definitely I will take up the bhakti marga. And if you think karma marga is the right path, then I take up the karma marga. Please tell me which is the right. Tell me one, but not but not all. Tadekam vada nishchitya, yena, by which, shreyaha, mokshaha, apnuyam, may I get. Please tell me one path by which I can get moksha, I can get my happiness. This is the point, this is the question. Now, before we go to the answer, we have to see certain fundamentals. Survival is choiceless, as we have been saying. Therefore, duty is a need. Survival is a need, therefore, duty is a need. Mental peace is a need, therefore, mental growth is also a need. Therefore, bhakti becomes a need. Duty is a need. Bhakti is a need. And we need to be free from ignorance, therefore, knowledge is a need. Therefore, karma is our need. Devotion is our need. And understanding also is our need. All of them are necessary. To survive, we need to perform duties, and to be mentally peaceful, we need to perform the same duty with the right attitude, and to be free from ignorance, we have to understand ourselves. Therefore, karma marga, bhakti marga, jnana marga are not for three people, they are all for the same person. I want you to hear this statement. Karma marga, bhakti marga, jnana marga, action, attitude and clarity are not meant for three people. Every person requires action. Every person needs to perform an action, and every person is in need of attitude, and every person also is in need of clarity. Just to see the three things. We are all in need of action. We are all in need of mental purity. Therefore, attitude. And we are all in need of clarity. Action, attitude, clarity. All the three things everybody is in need of. Therefore, tell me, what is your path? Bhakti marga or karma marga or jnana marga? You always say, please Swamiji, tell me which is the right, which is the best path. I will take to that best path. Hey, we are in need of action. We are in need of right attitude, devotion. We are also in need of the jnanam. Therefore, Shastram teaches karma, bhakti and jnanam for every person. Every person is in need of duty. Every person is in need of doing duty. Every person is in need of devotion. Every person is in need of also the clarity, the knowledge. Without duty, we can't survive. Without attitude, we can't grow. And without study, we can't know. And we need to live and also grow mentally and also understand ourselves. Therefore, karma marga, bhakti marga and jnana marga are not for three people, but all the three paths are meant for everybody, for the same person. And what is the misconception in the society? What is the misconception? For some karma marga, for some bhakti marga, and for some jnana marga. Is it true? Is it true? Karma marga, bhakti marga, jnana marga are for three people or for everybody? Everybody. Therefore, there is no such a thing called for the intellectuals, jnana marga, for the emotional, bhakti marga, and for the active, the karma marga. This thinking is wrong. For everybody, karma, bhakti, jnanam, all the three things are necessary for everybody. And therefore, accordingly, Bhagavan says, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. Just another few minutes. I am not feeling, I had some temperature and therefore I am trying to just really talk. Today I am just trying to, because there is some, I've been having some temperature yesterday, day before. So we'll just another few minutes, and then in the next class we will cover the whole topic properly in the next topic, next class. But another 10 minutes is there, another 5 minutes we'll see. Bhagavan answers, Sri Bhagavan Vacha. Sri Bhagavan, the answer to this question, Hey Krishna, you seem to be confusing me. You seem to be confusing me. Instead of giving me one path, you are giving me both the path of jnanam, the path of bhakti, the path of karma. You seem to be confusing. You seem to be giving me all the paths, and how can I follow all the paths? Therefore, I can only follow one path, and that path may you select and give me. And in answer to this, what should Krishna say? Krishna cannot say you take this path and leave that path. In fact, Krishna has to begin the Vedic vision. In this Vedic society, our society is called the Vedic society. In this Vedic society, we have 4 ashramas. Our society, the Vedic literature looks upon life, it divides life into 4 stages. These 4 stages are important in life. Brahmacharya ashrama, then Grihastha ashrama, then Vanaprastha ashrama, then Sannyasa ashrama. These 4 stages are there. Now, according to this ashrama dharma, there are ashramas, 4 ashramas, and then there are grihasthas, there are brahmacharis, there are vanaprasthas, there are sannyasis. Now, just see, as a brahmachari, the duty of a brahmachari is to be dedicated to study. Clear? That becomes his duty. And the duty of a grihastha is to do the duties. He has got a lot of duties and also swadhyaya. For a brahmachari, it is only swadhyaya. Swadhyaya pravachanabhyam na pramaditavyam. The Veda says, hey, you should never ignore swadhyaya and pravachana. As a brahmachari, one is supposed to be dedicated to the studies. As a grihastha, one is supposed to be dedicated to both the duties and the study. As a vanaprasthi is dedicated to both the study and self-control. As a sannyasi, he is supposed to be dedicated only to study and understanding. So, for all the 4 ashramas, there is something common. Study is common. I want you to hear this. There is something common to all the 4 ashramas, and that is adhyayanam. The study is common to brahmacharya. As a brahmachari, you are studying. As a grihastha, you are studying. As a vanaprasthi, you are studying. As a sannyasi, also you are studying. Studying what? That is the question. Studying the shastram. Studying what? The topic, what talks about your nature. Swadhyaya is shastram. The shastram always unfolds to us our nature, and therefore, while studying the shastram is something that is common to all the 4 ashramas. When it comes to the duty, for a grihastha there is an extra thing, swadhyaya and duty. So for a grihastha there is karma as well as adhyayanam. Listen to this. For a grihastha there is both karma and adhyayanam. So he has to do his duties also, and he has to do his duties, and he also has to study the scripture. as a person who is both studying the scriptures and also doing the duties, combining the study and the duty is called karma yoga. Combining the duties and the studies. You do your duty, you go to office, you work also, you look after your household, look after the business also, and also study the scripture. Therefore, Grihastha is in Grihastha one combines the scripture, the scriptural study with the duty, and that combining is what we call, is called karma yoga. And as a sannyasi, there is no duty, there is only sannyas, there is only study and understanding. Therefore, it is when a person is combining duty with the study, it is called karma yoga. And when a person renounces karma and then really does only adhyanam for understanding, it is called karma sannyasa. One is karma yoga, the other is karma sannyasa. A brahmachari is also in a way a karma yogi. He is also doing his duties as a prayer to God. A grihastha is doing his duties as a prayer to God. He is a karma yogi. A sannyasi renounces the karma and concentrates only on the studies, and therefore he is called karma sannyasi. Thus the whole society has got two paths. One is karma yoga, the other is karma sannyas. A karma yogi in time would become karma sannyas. A karma yogi, a grihastha in time. A grihastha, when he is a grihastha, he is a karma yogi. But in time, what does he become? Karma sannyas. Now you are a grihastha. Now you are a grihastha. As a grihastha, what are you? Karma yogi. But in time, as you grow older, as you become 60, as you become 70, you renounce all the duties and really dedicate yourself to Atma Vidya. Then you become what? Karma sannyasi. Karma yogi slowly becomes karma sannyasi. This is what is called the twofold path. This is called a twofold path. And that twofold path is going to be the topic of the next verse, which we will see in the next class, by which time I am sure I will be alright. I will be without any feverishness. I have been having some kind of flu. I hope I will be alright by next class. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti Shanti.